Before the 1970s, Korea's population was overwhelmingly rural, but over the past 50 years, as Koreans moved to the cities, data show the number.
South Korea and the United States signed their bilateral free trade deal in 2007.
And Korea recorded a service trade deficit of nearly $14 billion, mainly on intellectual
Korea
property.
has cut its economic growth target for this year and the next, citing still sluggish domestic demand. The Finance Ministry on Monday lowered its 2014 growth outlook to 3.4% and that of next year to 3.8%.
Hello. Today, I'd like to analyze the reasons for the economic development of South Korea in the last 50 years, which is so important. If you ask me, understanding how a country's economy can grow and flourish is always fascinating, and South Korea's story is a great example to look at. So, are you ready to dive in and learn about the factors that helped transform South Korea into one of the world's most dynamic and prosperous economies? Hello everyone, welcome back to Edge Capitalism. In Edge Capitalism, we analyze how power and value is created in the world. If you like our content, share and subscribe to our channel. Are you ready? Let's get started. The first event that helped develop the South Korean economy was the focus on export-oriented industrialization in the 1960s and 1970s. This period was characterized by a shift in economic strategy from import substitution to export promotion, where the government encouraged and incentivized companies to focus on producing goods for the international market. During this time, South Korea experienced rapid economic growth, with its GDP growing at an average annual rate of 9.7% from 1963 to 1979. This was largely due to the government's efforts to build the country's infrastructure and support industries that had the potential for export growth, such as steel, shipbuilding, and electronics. The success of export-oriented industrialization was largely due to the efforts of then-President Park Chung-hee, who implemented a series of economic reforms and industrialization plans. Under his leadership, the government established the Korea Development Institute, KDI, to provide policy recommendations and implemented the heavy and chemical industry drive, which aimed to develop heavy industries such as steel and shipbuilding. These policies, combined with a highly educated and skilled labor force, allowed South Korea to become one of the world's leading exporters, and helped transform the country from a developing nation to a developed one. By the late 1970s, exports accounted for nearly 50% of South Korea's GDP, making it one of the fastest growing economies in the world. The second event that helped develop the South Korean economy was the growth of the small and medium-sized enterprises (SMEs) sector. This sector has played a critical role in driving economic growth and creating new job opportunities in the country. The growth of SMEs was largely driven by the government's efforts to support the sector, including policies to provide access to credit, technology, and markets. The government established the Small and Medium Business Administration (SMBA) in 1981 to provide support and resources to SMEs and has continued to provide financial and technical assistance to this sector. As a result of these efforts, the number of SMEs in South Korea has grown significantly, with the sector accounting for 99.7% of all businesses in the country and employing over 70% of the country's workforce. Additionally, the SME sector has played a key role in driving innovation and competitiveness, with many of the country's leading technology companies having started as SMEs. The growth of the SME sector has also helped reduce inequality and improve the standard of living for many South Koreans, as it has created new job opportunities and helped spur economic growth. The third event that helped develop the South Korean economy was the rise of the service sector in the 1990s and 2000s. Prior to this period, the South Korean economy was heavily focused on manufacturing, but the growth of the service sector helped diversify the economy and increase its resilience. The growth of the service sector was driven by a number of factors, including the expansion of the middle class, the rise of technology, and the government's efforts to promote the sector. For example, the government established the Ministry of Information and Communication in 1989 to promote the development of the Information and Communication Technology sector, ICT. As a result of these efforts, the service sector grew rapidly, with the share of services in GDP increasing from 45.8% in 1990 to 54.3% in 2016. This growth created new job opportunities and helped improve the standard of living for South Korean citizens. One of the key drivers of the service sector's growth was the rise of the ICT sector, which helped drive innovation and economic growth. Companies such as Samsung and LG became global leaders in electronics and telecommunications and helped put South Korea on the map as a major player in the technology industry. The rise of the service sector also helped create a more inclusive and equitable economy, as it provided new opportunities for women, young people, and those in rural areas. The fourth event that helped develop the South Korean economy was the implementation of structural reforms in the late 1990s and early 2000s. These reforms aimed to improve the efficiency and competitiveness of the South Korean economy by reducing government intervention and promoting market-oriented policies. The reforms were largely driven by the South Korean government under President Kim Dae-jung, who recognized the need for structural changes in the wake of the 1997 Asian financial crisis. The crisis exposed the weaknesses in the South Korean economy, such as high levels of debt and a lack of competitiveness, and the government saw the need for reforms to address these issues. The reforms included measures to reduce government intervention in the economy, such as deregulation, liberalization of trade and investment, and privatization of state-owned enterprises. Additionally, the government introduced reforms to improve the efficiency of the labor market, such as the introduction of a flexible employment system and the promotion of labor management cooperation. It helped increase the competitiveness of the South Korean economy and paved the way for the country's continued growth and development. For example, the share of the South Korean exports in the world market increased from 2.6% in 1997 to 5% in 2016, reflecting the country's improved competitiveness. Additionally, the reforms helped improve the business environment, making it easier for companies to start and grow and attracting more foreign investment into the country. This helped boost economic growth and create new jobs, contributing to the country's continued success in the 21st century. The fifth event that helped develop the South Korean economy was the Chaebol Reforms of 1997 to 1998. The Chaebols are large conglomerate companies such as Samsung and Hyundai that dominated the South Korean economy. These reforms aimed to improve transparency, accountability, and competitiveness within these companies and involved measures such as reducing cross-shareholdings, separating financial and industrial activities, and increasing disclosure requirements. The reforms were implemented during the 1997 to 1998 Asian financial crisis, which had a severe impact on the South Korean economy. The government, under President Kim Dae-jung, realized the Chaebol's lack of transparency and accountability were contributing factors to the crisis and took measures to restructure them. The reforms were successful in improving the transparency and competitiveness of the Chaebols, leading to increased investment and economic growth. For example, Samsung's market capitalization increased from $12 billion in 1998 to $325 billion in 2019. Furthermore, the reforms helped reduce the influence of the Chaebols on the government, leading to a more level playing field for small and medium-sized enterprises. The reforms also helped improve the governance structure of the Chaebols, making them more accountable to their stakeholders.
South Korea and the United States signed their bilateral free trade deal in 2007, and it took effect exactly 6 years ago today.
The sixth event that helped develop the South Korean economy was the signing of several free trade agreements, FTAs, in the 2000s and 2010s. These FTAs aimed to increase trade and investment between South Korea and other countries by removing trade barriers such as tariffs and quotas. One of the most significant FTAs was the agreement with the United States, known as the Korea to U.S. Free Trade Agreement, KORUS FTA, signed in 2007 and implemented in 2012. The KORUS FTA was the first FTA signed by the United States with an Asian country, and it helped increase trade between the two countries by eliminating tariffs on a wide range of goods and services. The FTAs also helped increase South Korea's competitiveness in the global market as they provided access to new markets and increased opportunities for trade and investment. For example, South Korea's exports to the United States increased by 24.7% in the first year after the KORUS FTA was implemented. Additionally, the FTAs helped attract foreign investment into South Korea, particularly in the manufacturing and services sectors. This increased investment helped boost economic growth and create new jobs. The signing of these FTAs was largely due to the efforts of the South Korean government, under Presidents Roh Moo-hyun and Lee Myung-bak, who recognized the importance of trade in driving economic growth and development. The These efforts helped position South Korea as a leader in the global economy and contributed to its continued success in the 21st century. The final event that helped develop the South Korean economy was the expansion of the country's information and communications technology sector, ICT. This sector has played a critical role in driving economic growth, creating new job opportunities, and improving the standard of living for many South Koreans. The expansion of the ICT sector was driven by a combination of government policies and private sector investments. The government has provided support and resources to the sector, including funding for research and development, tax incentives, and support for the development of new technologies. Additionally, private companies such as Samsung, LG, and SK Telecom have made significant investments in the sector, helping to spur innovation and growth. As a result of these efforts, the ICT sector has grown significantly, accounting for a significant portion of the country's economic output and employing a large number of workers. For example, in 2019, the ICT sector accounted for 8.7% of South Korea's GDP and employed over 3 million people. Additionally, the sector has helped spur innovation and competitiveness, with many of the country's leading technology companies being based in this sector. The expansion of the ICT sector has also helped improve the standard of living for many South Koreans, as it has created new job opportunities, driven economic growth, and increased access to information and communication technologies. That is it for today. I hope you liked this video. For more updates on this topic, like the video and subscribe to the channel. Remember, capitalism is about creating value, not money. See you.